Hi guys, and welcome to this week's bonus podcast. How are you doing? I am Michael.
I'm Gemma.
And we are going to be doing some lovely listener questions this week. They are lovely, aren't they? So lovely.
Oh, lovely.
They're lovely listeners.
Yeah,
Love
lovely.
it. Lovely.
Okay, what are the questions?
I mean, yeah, we'll get straight to it. I mean, there's probably some people that are listening at the moment that want to know what we think of Monday night's epic Coronation Street. Well, we're not going to tell you.
You have to wait.
You have to wait until Friday to see. We got to be able to watch the whole of the week to be able to make the decision. There's some loud noises in the background. That's the cat. She's discovered our pile of moving boxes that are all bound together with bits of plastic that she just likes to twang.
She's going to do her teeth in.
Oh, well. Okay, let's get on with these questions then.
Number one.
Question the first.
From?
Clarissa.
Clarissa.
And she would like to know.
She wants us to explain it all.
This is very timely. This one's been sitting there for a little while, and I think we got to answer this now, otherwise it's going to be out of date soon. She would like to know, now that the COVID restrictions are easing, what would you like to see from Coronation Street, and what do you expect? So, like the distinction there between what you want to see and what you
expect.
Yes.
Well, I never expect them to fulfil my expectations.
Do you not? That I never reach the lofty heights of your expectations?
Sometimes they surpass them.
Okay.
But they never meet them.
Never exactly what you want.
They're exactly what I want after.
No, pleasing some people, is there?
No, there isn't.
Okay.
And that's how we like it.
So I think Clarissa is right. It feels, touch wood, that
There's the word.
restrictions.
Touch my arm. Touch it.
Wood. The COVID Well, I mean, the restrictions are definitely easing. Whether they'll be back
in
again.
England, we have lifted pretty much all of them.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
It was back in July they made it so that the end of July it was you don't have to wear your mask in the shops and blah blah blah, and then just recently they made it didn't they make it so like ready for schools to go back, so that if you come into contact with somebody that's positive,
COVID,
then
you can do what you like.
You don't have to isolate for 10 days if you've been double jabbed. So we're on our way out of it.
I'm pretty sure the government said if you after August whatever, if you find out you have COVID, you are allowed to nominate one person to cough into their face to give it to them.
Oh, is that right?
That's what's happening.
That's how they're keeping the herd immunity up. No, so Coronation Street is hopefully. Well, I mean, we've seen already evidence on screen that there is some easing of restrictions there.
Well,
and
very dramatically so.
At some point in the future, there will be, no restrictions, I would imagine. So we're on our way out of it.
And so, just to say, what have they done? What have they actually done to? Restrictions. So we had bubbling up, didn't we? We had cohorts, we had managers of cohorts, we had groups of actors only ever. So what that means is groups of actors only working with a certain other select group. So that was quite restrictive on storylines. So you couldn't have people bopping in and out. You had no touching, keeping social distance just like in real life, so having to stay a certain distance apart from one another.
You had your so only
masks.
certain numbers in each set. You had your location shooting and everything, and this was all brought into play as of last June, I think, or June 2020, when they came back from filming after their little breaky poo, and it feels that now we're seeing the beginnings of them coming out of it. Before we kind of talk any more about this, we need to have a general disclaimer of, obviously the most important thing is that everybody is safe and that nobody's made to feel that they have to do something that they're not uncomfortable with.
That's the most important thing to me.
Safety.
It's not just about being safe, it's about feeling safe. And I don't know that it's possible for everybody to feel safe at the moment. I just think that there's going to be a certain level of anxiety involved in a lot of this stuff, because it's all very well, saying I'm going to meet my friends now, or I can decide if I want to give my friend a hug when I meet them, or, I'm going to kiss my grandma or whatever. But when you're an actor, you're going to be hanging around with people that you don't know, you don't know what they've been up to. They could have been doing all kinds of things. Some very unsavoury people on that cast, getting up to all sorts. You know what I'm saying? And there's being an actor, sometimes you're expected to do things like kiss people and be intimate with them. And it must be a bit worrying and concerning if you're still anxious, which I think a lot of people who are very sensible still are.
Yes, but like you said with that kissing, for example, we've already started to see a little bit of kissing already on Corrie. So we saw we had James and Danny about a month or so ago now, wasn't it?
That was like the first declaration of the end of
that felt
COVID
like that was the beginning of the end of it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know whether we've seen James and Danny together in a scene since.
Actually, Danny's on a chefing course.
He was on a chefing course. We had that kiss with Biz and Tyrone just recently, and obviously just in last night's episode, so we're recording this on Tuesday, we saw a kiss between Seb and Nina in the flashback. So kisses are back on the table again. We've also started to see, I mean, it's not just kissing, but when we had Alan Helsel and Jenny McAlpine bubbling up, or whatever it is that they're doing now, because I haven't seen, you know, written or any interviews or anything with anybody saying exactly this is what we're doing, but they were holding hands in the police station. They were sitting next to each other on the sofa at number 9. I mean, this is, I think it feels a marked step up from what they had, say, earlier on in the year. For example, when we had Kevin and Debbie in the freezer together, when Mike and Sue were in a bubble. It seems like it was the kind of thing where they stayed together and they weren't allowed to see anybody else, because that's how the government wanted it back then. Like, you could team up with people as long as you didn't see anybody else for a certain time period. So I'm guessing. Am I guessing or am I knowing? I don't know.
Wasn't it?
Yeah,
not really well explained.
The same with Sarah and oh gosh, I can't remember. Ian Bartholomew. Who and maybe Shelley King as well, when they were
the rooftop,
when they're bubbling up for the rooftop scene. So we had the odd occasion of that,
and then of course he had to bubble up with the chickens for that scene.
Exactly.
Pecking him.
So that felt very different to what we're seeing now. There was also recently that the Liam asthma attack scene, wasn't there? Because we had Aggie and Maria and Liam all kind of crowding around together then, and we had the paramedic. So we
had Jack going, I'm not in his bubble, I can't help.
yeah, I don't know what Jack was doing. So I'm glad that that's starting to happen, because there's been a number of occasions this year where you'd kind of felt that maybe it would have benefited the story for characters to have got a bit closer together. I mean, people collapsing all over the place this year, like Peter with his seizures, and Summer, she clapped twice maybe in this year.
And people just standing at the corner of the room going, oh no, do you need any help?
Yes. And obviously there's been other occasions where maybe a hug would have normally taken place in the show. You know, maybe a bit of Leanne needed a bit of TLC this year but wasn't able to get any. And it feels like with what's going on now, whatever it is that's allowing, you know, the Liam scene, the Nevin scene, Seb and Nina scene, and so on to take place, and it's feeling like it's more regular now. I think maybe looking back, if we'd have had the current rules back, you know, 3 or 4 months ago, we would have seen more of that. So I think looking good.
Remarkable, really, to think that the Seb hate crime scenes were all still done with the element of social distancing. Really, that's quite
the original ones.
Yeah,
I know, because it was funny watching the flashbacks in yesterday's episode where characters were obviously near each other, and then that was like the first time that we'd seen Seb and Nina actually get close, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Bizarrely,
it was actually really. See, the flashback scenes, I feel like, do we really want a flashback? I don't know. Is this helpful or useful in any way? Is it just a clumsy way of telling a story? Is it a bit, you know, making a mountain out of a molehill, really, to have this played again? And then I was thinking, oh, wow, actually, they did do really well with fleshing the story out. And it does make sense to return to it, given the new rules and what you're allowed to actually do.
Yeah.
And it was quite poignant, because you got to see Seb and Nina really close to each other, which we never had.
No.
And
Corrie is allowed to give him a proper good kicking, which we weren't even allowed to do back in April time, May, whenever it was. That
was a really good point to bring up, that those scenes had benefited from the new rules. But, you know, still hats off to them, because I don't think that they watching it, I felt that there was any lacking in what they did originally.
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's been a couple of kisses, kind of fake kisses that we saw earlier this year, wasn't there?
There was a really cringe one between Nina and Asher.
Yeah, where they were just stood face to face with each other, and Molly Gallagher was on green screen.
Forward slightly.
That was
nice
poor.
Kiss.
And then there was also Alina and Tyrone kiss. I mean, can you believe that we've had a proper love triangle story, or an affair story, I suppose it's been, where none of the people involved have really been able to have any time near each other.
I prefer it like that.
But yeah, they had that scene where they brought in Roxandra's boyfriend, was it, to kiss her on the bench in the community garden, and again, it felt a little bit off.
I don't know. I mean, they also had the scene where when Seb was in hospital and Abby held his hand.
Oh yeah, they had Seb's girlfriend coming in for that, didn't they? They've had a few things like that, but the fact that it's been so few and far between, it's been like mega noticeable. Do
you think
but now it's starting to happen a bit more obvious, and some of the times, even this past fortnight, I've not even remarked upon it until, after the episode. I've gone, oh, hang on a minute, so and so were next to each other there.
See, I'm not the sort of person, and everyone knows this, who wants to see sex scenes or kissing or groping or anything.
You've always been very
really
clear
don't
about
like
that, haven't you?
I find it weird and cringy, and it's like there's a whole genre of films for that if you want to see that happening. I've heard. I don't need to see it on the telly when I'm trying to watch a soap, but there is something to be said for the closeness between Nina and Seb and the tenderness that they managed to evoke in the scenes that was missing before then, and I hadn't really I hadn't missed it, but watching the comparison, I was like, yeah, okay, this definitely establishes a more chemistry than had been there before, even though I was still really bowled over with what they did manage to get out of those scenes previously. I just don't want them to just jump into, everyone's missed all the kissing, let's just have everybody kissing each other.
No, I don't need that, and I'm not as prudish or whatever the word is as you about it. But
you can call me a prude. I don't.
We've both definitely sort of spoken in the past about neither of us loving all the kisses. But sometimes if it does have if it is an element of tenderness or romance or whatever, then fine. But if it's I don't know if it ever feels a bit sleazy or purposely titillating just for the sake of titillation, which Corrie and all soaps have,
all programmes,
will do sometimes, and I don't necessarily need any of that. I mean, I've not been gagging for the Billy relationship to have loads of kissing in. I've not, but even like Abby and Kevin, although maybe it would have helped,
to
because
be honest,
I don't know whether Abby and Kevin
feel a bit like someone's granddad sponsoring an orphan kid.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? No, I don't. Do you get any sort of romantic vibes off of them? No, not at all. Really, they seem like a pair of friends.
And his part, and decided
to get married so that she can get his pension.
Yeah, I mean, but it doesn't even have to be the kissing, does it? The fact that we've not had any hugging or sitting next to each other or anything, and I think just general closeness of characters is something that I'm quite looking forward to seeing more of.
Oh, got your nose.
We were watching
waving your thumb between your fingers.
We were watching an old episode the other day that had a load of characters crowded around a booth in the Rovers, and Karen McDonald was kind of draped all over Steve.
Yeah.
For no particular reason other than
she's a maniac.
They're married or whatever, and they're just close with each other, and you could pick that up. And that helped. Whereas if the characters who are supposedly going out with each other or married are literally sitting on opposite sides of the room,
this is where it doesn't work.
Yeah,
it worked. I got a bit fed up with people complaining about social distancing between characters who would actually need to be socially distanced from one another.
Yeah, that's true.
Like they're all. In that scene, everyone was standing really far apart. Like, for example, they never really made a big deal about it, but if I were to sort of come into a room and someone I did not know was on the floor collapsed, I would be like, oh God, what do I do? Am I, like, allowed to go over? If I go over, have they collapsed of COVID? Will I catch something from them? What do I do? Like, they never sort of, like, went into that dilemma, but...
No.
It certainly, a lot of it made sense, but then you get to the bit where, Kevin and Abby are standing with a table between them. And
it's the same with, you know, like Imran and Tora as well, I suppose. I mean, we're starting to see a little bit more of them at the moment.
Yeah,
and we're
but
not...
the thing is about their relationship is that they've sort of been established for a while, so we're not kind of expecting them to be in the first flushes of love and mooning at one another and sort of...
sweeping the things off the desk.
No, but like, for example, Emma and Curtis...
Yeah.
Do you buy... you know, I am starting to wonder whether I really actually... do expect a certain level of physical closeness between people, because I perhaps didn't realise how important it was in really establishing a dynamic.
Yeah. Speaking of closeness...
As much as I don't always want to see it.
Something that I really, really do miss, and I think has been proper lacking during the COVID times, it's been the fullness of the Rovers and the cafe and things.
Yeah.
It's felt weirdly empty, just having
again,
3 people in scenes.
Appropriate to the situation up until very recently.
I know, but I mean, I'm not saying it's not.
It was a bit of a weird, like a limbo of like, well, yeah, we don't have... Weatherfield doesn't have exactly the same COVID restrictions as England, because we are still letting people drink in, but we're not letting lots of people drink in, which is, I don't believe, has ever been the rule. You know,
no,
I think you know, some places, and the other thing, like, different establishments have different rules. So, for example, we've been to the cinema a couple of times in the last week, and one cinema we went to, they didn't care, everyone sits next to each other. The other cinema we went to made a gap between people's seating.
Yeah.
And when we went to the theatre, I went to the theatre twice in a week, and one time it was really strict and you had to show your COVID passport and wear your mask and stuff. And the next one was like, sit where you want, everyone's sitting on each other's laps, don't care whether you've got COVID or not, just don't cough on each other. I
just think that especially the Rovers, and I think the Rovers has been underused for quite a lot for a few years anyway, even before COVID, I do miss the community aspect of it. And watching some of the older episodes where it kind of is like the characters were getting up to their own whatever business and storylines during the day, and then in the second half of the episode you'd see more people congregating in the Rovers for the evening, and then everyone would be involved in each other's storylines and they'd all be listening in and hearing. That kind of community aspect is just not there at the moment.
No, and
that's been important in Coronation Street right from the very beginning.
Of course, and because of cohorts and stuff, you don't get like, oh, here's I don't know, here's Imran and Toya, oh, Daniel's just there. No. You know, it's always has to be somebody from the same group of storylines. And recently they've started having more extras in the background
they have.
For the Rovers,
that's
and
promising.
Also in the factory. And that, again, you know, the factory's been an absolute desolate wasteland.
Well, they went for a long time, didn't they, not showing anybody on machines. And it became a bit of a joke.
And it almost coincided directly with them doing a makeover, and it's like they did a makeover and they forgot to put sewing machines in.
So it's been nice seeing the factory girls doing their sewing again, but it still feels quite empty. We've seen a little bit of Dirk milling around.
I think it's partly
the
set is a bit weird.
I can't get my head around the factory set, but fullness of scenes I'm really, really hoping to see a little bit more of. Going back to what we were saying earlier about the fake scenes.
What do you mean the fake
scenes?
You know,
the green screen and the split screen and everything. Like sometimes we've seen characters opposite each other in the cafe and it's been clearly split down the middle.
They can't get the line right.
Has done an awful lot of that, haven't they? They made a big thing at the beginning of the year, I think it was, about look at all these scenes where we're inserting characters in digitally and we're having these perspex screens and everything like that, whereas Coronation Street were very much, no, we're going to keep everyone apart. Now we're kind of coming out the other side of it. Do you think that Coronation Street made the right decision to go back from that, or do you wish that they followed EastEnders' lead a little bit more and been a bit more experimental and
I think when they've tried to do that, it hasn't worked for me. I found it looks weird. I really do not understand how it will look so weird, because presumably all they've done is taken two actors and like edited out the space between them to make them look like they're closer together, but somehow even though I'm just watching, you know, a very small amount of pixels on the screen, I can still tell that they're looking
their eye lines aren't right,
where they're not, the person isn't. And it's really weird.
It is weird.
I think human beings read a lot out of eyes that we don't actually realise that we do.
It makes me wonder, because we've obviously not seen any of these EastEnders where they've done it.
Can't really compare.
Do EastEnders fans notice it as well, or do they just do it better at EastEnders, or is it the fact that because it happens more often, it isn't noticeable anymore?
They have fewer episodes.
Yeah, they're like on 4 20-minute episodes a week. I don't think they've gone over 20 minutes. So loads less EastEnders than there is Coronation Street. I think
I'd rather they didn't spend all their money on stupid.
I think that they made the right decision. I can't
camera stuff.
I can't help but feel that I would have been constantly looking out for
Even
it, distracting me, going, that's fake, and it'd take me out of it.
Yeah. Recently, when Evelyn was talking with Tyrone, and we were convinced that she'd been green screened in, and then there was a whole bit where Tyrone we were focused, was it Tyrone or Fizz? I can't remember. We focused really heavily on their face, and Evelyn was talking in the background, and we never cut to her, and we were like, what happened there? Something happened with the filming and she couldn't come in, or she wasn't near, you know? It just raises so many questions, and it's really distracting.
Yeah.
And
so I'm not...
They're probably quite expensive.
So where we were asked, where Clarissa asked, what do we want to see more of? I think, don't be tempted to put more of that in to fill in the gaps as you're getting closer to normality. Ease off. It's not. It doesn't work. It's not worth it, and it takes you out of it. I think that they've been pretty effective in.
Well, we don't know. We heard some rumours, didn't we, about a number of cast and crew coming down with COVID all at the same time. Not that long ago.
Yeah.
And we never really... I can't remember if it was ever confirmed or not, but it's definitely that was the gossip, that it was hitting everybody pretty hard, and makes you wonder, doesn't it? You know, was it related to some of these restrictions being eased off? Because it's all very well saying, oh yeah, well we want it to look more like it used to, but if everybody then ends up getting COVID and not coming in, you can't make a bloody television show. No,
exactly, and we don't know. It's none of our business as to which of the cast and crew are getting jabbed or anything as well. But it's something that's going to still be at the forefront of the producers' minds,
because it's still a deadly disease at the end of the day, and I would not want to do a job where I was felt endangered. I'm so lucky. I feel very privileged. I've always worked from home. And I don't really have any friends. And I've only got 2 family members that I see regularly, so I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything, keeping my distance. And but if you're an actor, you can't, you feel pressured. That's why I really liked what they did with Izzy's character. And it was very creative. I would have preferred, honestly, more of that than green screen and stupid plexiglass rubbish. It makes way more sense. I really don't get why they didn't rely on technology more and have people zooming into each other. And
well, that's something else that we didn't mention before about changes we've noticed over the past 18 months. There have been the odd video call and whatever. I mean, the Aggie and Ed.
Yeah, they've done it a few times. It just felt like this is an easy solution to this problem, and that's how everyone else is solving their problems. Why don't you do it?
What was it there? Oh, it was Peter's. He had a medical appointment or something, didn't he? I can't remember what it was. And the Barlows were zooming into it or something. I can't remember.
Oh, right, yeah.
And also the online auction.
Yeah,
do you remember for number 1 towards the beginning of the year as well. Okay, go right. We're off track a little bit. Well, not really, but look, other things that
we haven't had a COVID catch up.
No, we haven't. No,
for a long time.
No. Thinking of other things that I want to see more of, and again, we're starting to see the beginnings of this now, is location shoots, because that is something that is seriously been lacking in the past year.
I think it's interesting and lucky for Coronation Street that they seemed to have invested a lot of time and money into renovating some of their interior sets.
Suspicious.
It's like they knew.
And the Victoria Street, that only opened a few years ago, didn't they? They
it
knew
really
it was
is.
coming.
Imagine if they hadn't had that bit.
Yeah, if they'd have just been confined to literally Coronation Street, Rosamond Street, and a little bit of Victoria Street.
Yeah.
They'd have been up the creek, wouldn't they? Because we've had so many scenes in Victoria Gardens, say, and we wouldn't have been able to have any of that.
Where it's they didn't have really any outside space apart from Maxine's bench, and obviously, not only did it mean there was somewhere else for them to have scenes, but it was probably very COVID secure because it's outside, and we're always encouraged to do things outside where possible.
My concern, to be honest, here is for the last 18 months, 12 months, Coronation Street is saying, oh, this is okay, actually. We don't really need to go outside of Media City. Let's not bother. They really need to make use of the great and varied outside of Manchester. Get out there.
And Salford.
Yeah. Because back in the 90s and before, it felt like they used to go outside. You know, every week there'd be a good handful of location shoots, wouldn't there? And just in the past few years, it's been less and less and less. It's so important. It makes it feel so less constricted and like they're in their own little bubble. It's not. It's been okay. I wouldn't say it's felt, weirdly restricted, but in the back of my mind, it's definitely something where I've missed, and there's been some stories that have been clearly stunted because of not being able to get outside. For example, we had the drugs bust on Harvey, say whenever that was, 4 or 5 months ago. We heard about it, but we didn't see it.
Yeah.
And you think, well, if they'd have been able to go outside the set, we would have seen that. There was when Gary went to the woods when he was going to dig up Rick Neelan. We heard about him going off there, and then he was chased by, was it Bernie and Brian or something, and we didn't get to see any of it. So I think there's always going to be the opportunity to go outside, but sometimes I don't know. It just felt like in the olden days it was a bit more, let's just go outside for the sake of it. And I want to go. We've got
this budget. Let's spend it on something.
Yeah,
it just makes it feel more real.
I really want to see more of the outside world. I think it's so important, and we've seen small bits of that. Again, going back to this week, we've had the flashback scenes that are outside, and Nina going back to recreate those or to retrace her steps or whatever. Good. We had, and then when that was originally filmed back in March, April time, they obviously had to go off of the set there. And to be honest, when they were filming those, back then I was thinking, oh, good, they're going outside now. We'll start to see more location shoots, but we just didn't, did we?
Makes me wonder why they don't do stuff at Media City. It's really funny. I wonder if there's some kind of like gentleman's agreement amongst all the sort of because lots of programs get made there, like don't disrupt other people by filming this program. Because you could have somebody popping down to Pret or go into the supermarket.
I guess it's just harder and harder in today's everybody's got their phone with them, social media age, to do.
Well, if you're guaranteed anywhere a concentration of crazy lunatic fans that would come and spoil your filming and shout and disrupt you and try to get selfies with people, it would be at Media City, wouldn't it? And also the other thing is everything's made of glass, so you'd probably see the cameras.
Yeah, that is very true. I think the closeness of the characters is my number one that I want to see more of, but very close second to that is the location shoots. They've got to get right on that and don't just sit on your laurels and go, well, it's been fine without it. Get out there.
Don't just say, I'm pretty sure that nobody's noticed this has always been the same hotel.
Yeah, that's the thing, that they've got so many sets now, and they're doing it on purpose so that they don't have to go outside, but don't not go outside, honestly. Get out there, go to Chimney Pot Park, go to Heaton Park, have some nice community event or something. It's so important just for visual interest, I think. Any other bits that are important for you that we want to see more of?
I just want to see like a party or something, a group of people having a party, or going, oh, it's the Jubilee, or oh, it's the something anniversary of the founding of Rosamundster, or whatever, something where they all get together and do stuff together, and
Coronation
more mixing up of stories and characters and incidental people walking along and being in the background of another scene.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're coping with hitting their
the contracted number of episodes,
because they've got every permanent character actor has a certain number of guaranteed episodes a year, and then they'll have, if they have any more, they'll get paid on top, and if they don't hit that, they still get paid. So you know, I can imagine, not that I know anything about beyond what I've just said, because I know that for a fact, but beyond that I don't know. But you know, oh crap, we haven't had, and I don't know, just say Emily, even though she's not in it anymore. We haven't had Emily in a scene, in enough scenes. Just bang her in the back of this one drinking a sherry, or I don't know. They haven't been able to do anything like that.
No. Speaking of Emily, that just made me kind of think of the older characters in general, and we've had a lot of Evelyn this year still, haven't we? And Maureen Lipman did go away for a little bit, but I'm wondering whether there's going to be the opportunity to get more of the old cast back on screen and back in stories. I mean, we've not had Ken. I can't remember
Where's
when.
Rita?
Yeah, she was very noticeably absent throughout a lot of the Sharon story, for example, wasn't she? She kind of was in there when Sharon turned up. She was in there at the end, and we didn't see hide nor hair of her in the middle. But yeah, a proper old characters story would be great. Ken, bring him back, get him doing something, because these are these legacy characters, and we're only going to have them for so long. What else have we got? Stunts.
Oh yeah, slapping.
Yeah.
Kicking.
We got our first socially distanced stunt over a year ago now with that car crash. Well, when
oh no, they've run over that mannequin that looks suspiciously like Sarah. What should we do?
But they have been, you know, we haven't seen many stunts or fights or anything because the characters haven't been able to get close to each other. So let's have a bit more of that. Soaps are all about punch-ups. I don't know what we're going to have for our Eki Thump Award nominations this year, because there's just been barely anything.
I also want to see resolutions to some storylines that I really think have been ticking and waiting, because we can't do, like, I don't know, is there something really integral to some of these stories that haven't had resolutions we need the restrictions being lifted? Like, what the heck's going on with Gary? That's the biggest one to me. I was so excited about Gary's storyline, and I was really rooting for him to be a massive villain in Crim and get unmasked in spectacular fashion at Christmas or something. And I just feel like I wanted to see him skulking about in the woods. I want to see him digging people up, and you know, also, what about the bloody sinkhole? Has that just been filled in?
Oh yeah. Well, Natasha did say she'd pay for it, didn't she? Where's
Natasha? Kill her off.
So going back to what we said about stunts, the whole 60th anniversary was stunted because of not being able to do certain things. They said as much, didn't they? There was going to be some big Hollywood stunt or whatever in McLeod.
Well, let's use that money this year.
Have they saved it up?
I hope it's not like,
to use it
I hope it's not like what they say with the roadworks, where they say, oh, they've got to use it, otherwise the government won't give them more, so that's why they're digging the road up again.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of it, the main things that I'd like to see more. Closeness of characters, more characters in set at once, more community feel, like everybody getting together and intermingling in each other's stories.
I also don't know whether the cohorts has got something to do with block filming and this like real. It feels as though you could almost just watch Corrie every other fortnight, and if two people watched it on alternate fortnights, they might never see the same set of characters and think that they were watching two different programmes.
Yeah. But is that a COVID thing? Not necessarily, because it felt like that was coming along beforehand. But I really hope that they do their best, now assuming they're allowed to. I mean, it feels like what they're doing at the moment, because there obviously still is some social distancing taking place. It's not free for all anymore, is it? It looks like when it's deemed necessary, they're fine for whatever reason for characters to be able to get close to each other. And I'm not imagining that means that they're all staying around each other's houses and forming a bubble for 2 weeks or anything like that. Whatever it is, they're allowing it more often.
Well, you know, for example, when I saw a picture yesterday after the Nina's flashbacks had been shown, and there was a photo, and it was Millie Gibson and Max
Evans, yeah.
and
Harry Vizzanoni
and
Molly Gallagher.
I was almost there. But they were standing in pairs separate to each other.
Yeah.
So they must have had to bubble up with those pairs, but they didn't allow those to cross over.
No, but I thought they did, which is why they were able to have because in this episode they had Kelly kneeling down next to Seb, didn't they, after he was beaten up? But I know the picture that you mean. I thought that was
weird.
odd. Moving away.
I think the main thing to take away from this is that we don't know how it works.
No.
Don't take our word for this. It's not like we have secret knowledge. We don't know.
Just before we move on to the next question, I do hope that, and this isn't anything to do with the show necessarily, but when now these restrictions are ending, that you start up the tours again or something.
Yeah.
And this building project that's been going on at Media City for what feels like 2 years now, maybe, where they're adding this extra bit on, and they're going to have a proper visitors centre and a shop and everything. I'm convinced that was supposed to be open in time for the 60th anniversary, and everything's gone completely quiet about it now, hasn't it?
We can't afford to do it now because all the materials have gone up.
That's true. I'm hoping that that's going to get open up again. People are going to be able to get around the set. It just the more I even speak about it now, the more in my head I can picture the germs flying through the air and everything. So again, they have to do it safely. But I'm looking forward to hearing about people being able to get to the set. I'm looking forward to seeing people saying, "Oh, I was outside the set today and I met so and so coming out and I got an autograph," which I remember a year ago when they started filming again, they had those big signs out the back of the set, didn't they, saying "Don't stop the actors, please." I don't know whether that's still there.
Don't talk to the actors or the geese. They're both violent.
So it'd just be nice to get that going again. Which ones?
Exactly.
Proper press conferences as well. Now we've, as a podcast, been able to benefit from the fact that they've had virtual press conferences this year.
That's right.
So it'll be interesting to hear that. Is normal service going to resume? Again, this new bit that they're building, there was going to be a whole press area built, wasn't there? So I assume that they want to start using that again. Things like the soap awards happening again. I'm looking forward to. We need soap
awards.
We've missed 2 British soap awards now.
I know, and we were going to get a special Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah.
So we probably won't get that now, but just so you guys know, for the record, that was definitely
we were earmarked for that, weren't we? Yep. So out of everything, Gemma, what is the number one most important thing for you that you want to see more of? If you had to just pick one.
Well, I'm going to cheat a little bit and just have unrestricted storylines.
Okay, yeah.
I just want them to not have to go, "Oh, yeah, we can't do that because we can't have so-and-so bubbled with thingamabob because thingamabob's, living with a partner," whatever. I would love it if we just didn't have COVID.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I'd love it if we could just be totally unrestricted and anything could happen as the story dictates, rather than, the restrictions of the COVID. But I would never ever want anybody to get sick because of a stupid storyline, and I would never ever want someone to be up at night going, "I don't want to go into work tomorrow because I'm terrified that I'm going to have a scene where I've got to touch somebody and then I'm going to come home and I'm going to get COVID and give it to my mum," or that's the worst thing I can imagine.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And who knows when people aren't going to be thinking about that anymore. Well,
I don't want to be depressing, but it seems as though we'll always have to worry about COVID. And it's the same, I think, it's crazy not to worry about it. This is a disease that kills people and people have died and it's horrific, and I can't imagine inflicting that on someone else. But then I also think we'll get in cars and drive around and crash you know, and
we all get around and crash.
I've crashed so many times. You know what I mean? We have accepted some danger in some parts of our lives that we don't accept in others, and I just think that as time moves forward, it's going to be unfortunate, acceptable.
Yeah.
Like nobody goes, oh, we got to shut down the motorways because look, a deer got hit. You know, not that I'm trying to equate people dying of COVID to deer, but the same thing about car crashes. Like we don't get into cars with helmets on. I'm sure we could reduce the amount of deaths in car crashes if everyone wore a helmet in a car. No one's going to wear a sudden helmet driving around in their car, are they? That's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Where's the balance of what's acceptable and what's just silly? I don't know.
No.
I'm all for, you know, as safe as possible. I still wear mask in shops, and I'm double jabbed, and so are you, and so is everyone I know. So
yeah,
I'm obviously on the side of overcautious, perhaps some would say.
I think we've run this conversation, Joe. I hope that.
What did you? No, but you never said. What's your
my
most
number
important?
one? Well, I like your catch-all answer, to be honest, but I think what I'm missing the most is the closeness of characters, because I would say location, but I'm not convinced that Corrie will automatically spring back to that, so it's not just a COVID issue, but having people next to each other, up in each other's faces, fighting, arms around each other, the odd kiss, a bit of hanky-panky here and there.
Do you know,
I think that's what I'm missing the most.
We always laugh when this happens, and we've been, like you guys know, we've been watching Corrie from the very beginning, all the way through. We're at 2002 now, are we? And we laugh when it happens. It doesn't happen that often, but it happens enough that it's funny. When Rita gets out a good old sing-song and everyone starts drunkenly swaying around in the background, you know, I'd kill for that now.
Yeah.
I would kill for a scene where Rita starts piping up, going, I'll do a song, and everyone's like, yay, Rita's the best. See, the Weatherfield Nightingale regales us again with her beautiful voice.
Thank you, baked potato. COVID anthem.
I just want that. I want a party. I want everyone wearing party hats and blowing the party pooper things and
Party pooper.
what are they called? Party peepers.
I don't think it was that.
Party.
Yeah, I know. Party kazoos.
Party kazoo. Party vuvuzuelas. COVID is a massive party pooper.
It is, isn't it? Can we just say that as down as on you know the past year or whatever of Corrie we've been because of this, Corrie has done a very good job. We don't have any idea
how difficult it has been to not only just to adjust to having a radically different way of filming, having all these restrictions behind the scenes that we don't know about, also having suddenly I can't come into work because I've been pinged or I'm ill. You've got to constantly
so much must have been hidden
toes
that we've got no idea about,
and say, well, this scene could work with so and so, or we're gonna have to rewrite this whole week.
Yeah,
because this person's not coming in.
I bet it's happened a lot more than most people would imagine.
I honestly,
than people would expect.
Hats off to Ian McLeod. Everyone's gonna have a different opinion of how well he has done his job. I just can't believe he hasn't run away screaming yet, because I would be gone. I'd be committed, probably. The stress.
Yeah. He must be very proud of himself for getting through.
He really should be, honestly. I know that there's
when EastEnders went off, Emmerdale, that went off for a little bit, didn't it? And Hollyoaks. Corrie's kept on going. And it didn't run out of episodes.
Yeah, we don't pull any punches here. When things don't work, we'll say. But I am always, in my mind, and I hope it's obvious that we don't need to say it all the time because it becomes tedious, grateful to everybody who's worked through the pandemic to keep Coronation Street running.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Right. Let's go. That was something like a very serious discussion. I think for the next question, we've got more frivolous topic.
I'm sure that people who like anti-vaxxers, anti-maskers, pro-maskers, people that don't like the COVID victims to be likened to deer getting run over on the motorway, they're all going to be mad at something I've said. But it's difficult to talk about something delicate without putting your foot in your mouth.
Gemma,
so let's talk about something that we actually know about.
Mel, it's a question from Mel.
Mel has asked, now is Mel a boy or a girl? Is it Mel Brooks or is it Mel C? Mel is non-binary, and they have asked, imagine you were given the job of designing a Corrie video game. What would it be like?
This question was designed for me.
I'm so excited, Mel. First of all, thank you for entrusting us with this important task. We will invoice you for for the next half an hour or so of our thoughts and feelings about this. Number one, yes, we'll help you. Thank you for asking us. Number two, let's just do a quick survey of what is already out there.
Not much. And to be honest, I don't think that we are ever going to get... I think most of whatever we talk about today is going to be no chance, not a chance in hell that this is actually going to be made.
I think Mel is barking up the wrong tree here.
Yeah. So
can I just say, whatever it is, it has to be very similar to my favourite Coronation Street game, which is Coronation Street, The Mystery of the Missing Hot Pot Recipe. I really want is a big, just like a clicking game. Not a point and click adventure, because that would involve some kind of plot or actual adventure. But just clicking on things, because that's my favourite thing to do with a mouse.
We've got a couple of videos on our YouTube channel. One of us playing Coronation Street, The Mystery of the Missing Hot Pot Recipe, and one of us playing Coronation Street, Words and Design.
Spoiler
which
alert.
is the closest we've got to a Coronation video game in the past 10 years.
We never uncovered what the mystery of the Missing Hot Pot Recipe was.
So like Gemma said, that Missing Hot Pot one was it was just clicking around random objects on the screen until you find everything that they want.
What was it? I can't remember. So it started off like, oh no, I've lost my hot pot recipe. Oh, you're going to have to find a clue for it in the Rovers. And then there's like a picture of...
It's the Rovers, and it's just full of
rubbish, crap everywhere. And what does it say? Like, did you have to... What did you have to do?
It said down the bottom, here's 20 objects.
Right,
finds them. It's like a big Where's Wally?
5 teddy bears or 5
typewriters. Yeah, there was a bit of that, wasn't there?
And you just keep like, oh god,
it was awful.
Boring
it was
as hell.
So bad.
It wasn't even so bad. It was funny. It was like, this is. I don't think that
it's a cheap and horrible cash-in.
I don't think this is actually legal. This is some kind of. This is banned by the Geneva Convention, I thought.
So whatever we come up with has got to be better than that. Then just this past 8 months or so, we've had Coronation Street Words and Design, and this has been the game that was made for the 60th anniversary. It's a mobile game, which is mostly word puzzles, where you got your little your jumble of letters, and you have to make some words, and it goes into a crossword grid. And when you do that, then you can get some furniture to put in people's houses on Coronation Street. And I'm still playing this, or I'm doing my best to, but they're trying really hard to stop me because the updates are absolutely terrible.
I don't think that they ever thought that they would need to be updating it as much as they have. I think that they thought that there would be normal people playing this game and just do it for a month and stop.
I've been trying to restrain myself. There's some people that have been doing puzzle, and they've got hundreds of stars there, which is what you earn from doing your puzzle. As soon as the updates come out, they just spend their stars, and in 5 minutes they're back to waiting again. So I've not been stockpiling stars. So whenever the updates come, I get a good, hours enjoyment out of it, although it is rather repetitive, so enjoyment's a bit of a not the best word to describe it.
The most important thing about the best thing about it is the script is funny.
The script is great. What I'm finding now is I wish that there was just more areas that you could design, because when it started, you were kind of alternating between doing a bit of number 1 and the bit of the Rovers, and once those 2 buildings were full up and decorated, then they opened up number 9, and that's all there's been so far. It's been Jack and Vera's house, and
you have to choose between 3 horrible designs of.
Oh yeah, well, I don't really care about that, but there's no variety now, and it's literally, it can be months between updates, so it's a bit rubbish. It had potential, and I think, to be honest, if there was going to be any chance of another Coronation Street game coming on the horizon, then a mobile game is what it's going to be. Just a couple of other games that there have been in the past. There was this Facebook game called Coronation that was put up for the 50th anniversary, which was similar in that it was a builder game, but I can't remember how it worked. It was a little bit like The Simpsons Tapped Out that I play at the moment, where you can set characters on tasks, and then a little timer would start to fill up, and then 8 hours later, then you click on Ina Sharples and it says that she's done her job, and you've got coins, and then you can spend that on another house or a car or another character or whatever. And I still think that if I was going to pitch a realistic, possible sounding Coronation Street game, I would say an updated version of that would be the way to go. The problem with that was you once you'd got your street laid out, then there weren't any other buildings that you could buy. And when the characters were doing these tasks, you didn't actually see them doing the tasks. They were just stood still with a timer bar going over the top of them. So I'd like to see something that is more akin to the Simpsons game that I'm playing, where you can build more of a town and have these other things in wider Weatherfield, like, you know, put in your Weatherfield football stadium or put in your Freshcos or whatever, build it however you want, have the characters actually walking around, and there could be there could be a lot of mileage out of that, and it would also stop the problem that Words and Design has got at the moment, where it is just Rovers, Kens and number 9. You'd be able to do, you know, you'd be able to have tens of characters.
Tens, dozens.
And most importantly, because I think this is where Words and Design is going wrong at the moment, it would encourage certain players to start spending and getting those microtransactions. So at the moment on Words and Design, you can pay for like an ad-free version, which I have, and it's a couple of pounds. There's still adverts on it, so I don't really get what it's done. And can you maybe pay for coins or something, or pay for stars? I can't remember, but you don't need to. There's so little incentive to spend money on this game, and these, you know, free games that the App Store is flooded with, they live or die by how much
well, they
much
only
income
need
they
a
were
couple
able
of whales,
to generate.
is what they need.
Yeah, but there's no reason at all to spend money on this game at the moment, especially once you pay for the ad-free version, should you wish to do that. So having some kind of game where you can spend, you know, 50p to get a virtual mini Coldwell or whatever, or speed up a task of Gale bottoming the bistro, then that would work so well. That's going to generate income.
But it's not really fun to play a game with microtransactions. But that would only be, well, I don't play very many console games. Well, any console games with that kind of stuff. But I know they do it. But it's more mobile games that have microtransactions.
Yeah, I don't think that the timer model of game, like I'm describing, where you set a character doing something and a timer runs, or you know, you've got a certain amount of lives and then you've got a timer until you can do it again. I don't think that as many games have that nowadays.
What about
honestly, I think that if there were going to be anything, my ideal Coronation Street mobile game would be design your own Weatherfield, fill it with characters from the past. There are hundreds that you could get, set them all off on different tasks, design it how you want. I would love that, and I think there's been so many people that have dropped off of Words and Design, I know, since December when it launched. They could still be enjoying it. If it was something game like that. Yeah, basically.
How about Bejeweled or Bedazzled or whatever it is?
Yeah.
You know that one where you connect the colours?
Yes, match 3 games are mobile standard, aren't they?
Match 3 games, but instead of gems, it's faces of characters.
Yeah, why not?
I bloody love that. That'd be fantastic.
Line up your 3 Veras, they disappear.
My bet Lynchers have all gone into the ether.
It wouldn't necessarily feel like it was a Coronation Street game. The one thing, like you said, that Words and Design has got going for it is the script is actually pretty good. So once you've made you've completed your crossword puzzly bit, and then it's like Jack saying, "Oh, it's time that we put up the bar in the lounge art era." There is a great script, and if it was something like a match 3 game or whatever, there'd be no reason for that, and it'd literally just be Corrie faces stuck over the top of these things, and you'd forget. It'd be funny for a bit, and then it would.
Yeah, but can you just imagine this being like a worldwide game, and then there would be children in like Ecuador going, I don't know who
what is going on
there? Is, but I love this game so much. I love Connect Corrie. So it might like generate a whole. Tell you what it could do, after you've completed a level, it like forces you to watch a scene from 1961.
Oh, I'd love that. What about another massive grosser in the mobile market in the past 5 years or so, Pokemon Go? How could we do that but with Coronation Street? They tried it with Harry Potter, didn't they? You know, walking. They had that Wizarding World one that you were wandering around and then you would encounter Ronald Weasley or a blast-ended Scroot
you're
or
walking
something.
along and it's like Ina Sharples comes out from the shadows. What are you doing this time of night wandering around by yourself? You should be careful. And then she starts, like, I don't know, throwing milk bottles at you. You've got to, I don't know, run her over with your car. The trouble about all these things is they don't work within the established universe that is Coronation Street, and making your own story is a bit difficult. But that would be what I would do. I would
with my city building game that I really want to happen. Don't care. Have it in an alternate universe, which is why you can have these hundreds of characters from all throughout Coronation Street's timeline all converging in this one weatherfield. Who cares? Let's say Sam's made an experiment in his bedroom that's blown up everything and it's distorted the space-time continuum. And so not only can you put, the Coronation Street houses how they look now, but you can also put, I don't know, the Ellingston's Raincoat Factory, and you can dump that somewhere, or the Graffiti Club, or I get
what you're saying.
That would work. It would work so well. I just don't know what the market would be.
I think it would cost so much money to make it.
It probably would, but if anything is going to satisfy Corrie mobile gamers, then surely it'd be something like that. And I think they'd be wise to set it mostly in modern day, but then have a bit of a dripping in of the older stuff, because again, going back to the words and design, at the moment, the only characters that you can interact with or be or whatever at the moment are Ken, who is obviously still in it, and then Bet Lynch, Jack and Vera. So only a quarter, there's 4 characters and only one of them is, potentially a modern Coronation Street fan might even know who they are. So I think setting it in modern times primarily would be the way to go to keep hold of their audience.
What games did they used to have on the old Corrie website? There's an official Coronation Street website.
There was. I don't really remember much about it. I mean, when we did our little tour of the Wayback Machine or whatever it was that earlier this year or last year? I can't remember. We managed to get onto a few versions of the old Corrie website, and there was like a Chesney and Roy and not a Chesney, sorry, a Wayne and Roy and Haley on the Run game, the little Flash game. But I don't think we could play it.
You can't. Flash is dead now, isn't it?
If you, you can't do anything on Flash anymore. There was like another Facebook post on Coronation Street's Facebook from about 10 years ago saying, "Oh, we'll play a variety of games. One of them is Shave Kevin's Tash." I can't remember what, but that's all inaccessible now. But
how about one of these, these compendiums where it's like they get you at Christmas, where it's like 100 games in one. And it's like that, but it's just Coronation Street themed. So it's like dart game, and it's
Dominoes
just Jack.
with Ina.
Yeah, play Dominoes with Ina.
And Albert Tatlock, yeah.
Snooker with the Black Ball Butcher.
Oh, how about a bit of a
drinking game with
street racing with Luke.
Yeah. Bop a granny on the head with Richard Hillman.
Do you think like a party game? Would that work?
Coronation
Street is programmed for families, having some kind of board game with little mini games. Again, that
like Mario Party.
Yeah, maybe, because that could include games from all around Coronation Street history. There's so much. Coronation Street's got over 10,000 episodes worth of stuff to draw inspiration from. So maybe something which is more variety based could be good.
Well, we just played that board game, didn't we? That Coronation Street board game.
Yeah.
Don't really remember what the point of it was, but
round the street, pick up things, answer trivia questions.
Say you had like a mobile game which was like a board game. Then you'd have like 4 characters, but you'd have to say you wanted to be, I don't know, Carla. Yeah. You've got to pay 50p, and then you unlock Carla.
Yeah. Like I say, if they're going to make a mobile game, they've got to have the opportunity to pay a little bit of money to buy certain characters, and some people will get ripped off on it and it's bad, and I wish mobile transactions weren't there. Maybe stick a version on money. That's how these games stay afloat, unfortunately. Because there's been instances in the past of companies trying to sell games on the App Store and say
unlock
£10 up front and you've got the full game.
Nobody wants that.
No, people don't want it. No.
What about a fashion design game with, like, all the fancy characters, and then you unlock packs like the 2000s pack with your hipster jeans and your little daisy chokers.
Oh, I want to dress somebody up in that coat that Kirk and Fizz used to wear, the black jacket with a white and red striped diagonal straight down it. Maybe it's sort of fashion dress-up game would be good.
You get Michelle free.
Yeah,
you have to
no one's going to pay money for Michelle, are they?
No.
Okay, what if, Gemma, then, they were to hit the big time and try and make a console game?
Elon Musk says, I'm fed up with buggering around in space. I'm not getting anything out of this. What I want to do is to bring the institution, the British soap institution of Coronation Street, the world's longest running soap, to PS5.
Yeah, cutting edge graphics.
Xbox, whatever.
Xbox, whatever they're on now.
Xbox, no, I think it's called the Xbox, whatever. And I've got, I don't want to spend all of my money, but I do have £1 billion that you can have. Okay. So come up with some ideas and tell me, and I'll make one of them. And we'll be like, Elon, number 1, good idea. Number 2, we'll come back to you tomorrow.
I'll tell you what they couldn't do, Gemma, and these are the sort of games that often do cost the most amount of money to make, as far as I know. Open world. Because there isn't an open world.
That's the good thing, you can sell it to him. You can go, look, Mr. Musk, great idea, because we won't have to spend all of our money on recreating Weatherfield, because it's actually quite small.
Yeah. As much as I would love to be able to explore wider Weatherfield, and I think once you were let to leave the confines of the street, it wouldn't be quite so fun anymore. So I'll say no to that one.
It's like, for some reason, when you go beyond Victoria Street, there's like fog comes and you end up unconscious on the beach.
Okay, tell you what I want. I want that real Coronation Street fighter.
Yeah.
Just like in that picture.
I agree.
We all know the picture, the piece of art that was, I don't know where it came from, but it's got, is it Deirdre and Ken fighting, or is it Gail? I can't remember. One of them saying, "How do Ken?" And they're doing the Hadouken.
Yeah.
I think that, honestly,
I beat them up.
This is where, with my mobile games, that could be possible. Maybe. We're definitely into the realms of this isn't going to happen now, but I would absolutely love to have a fighting game where you could pick from, one of 30 Coronation Street characters and get them to beat 11 daylights out of each other.
But the thing is, though, would you want it to actually be properly realistic, where it looks like modern computer graphics, where it could really be the person? Or would you like it to be like Street Fighter, cute, like 2-bit?
I'll have like a pixely 16-bit style, maybe.
I want like beep, 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 beep.
I'd be happy with that. Or, it could still be cartoony style. It could be nice. It could still be nice 2D, hand-drawn artwork making this. But I don't know who would be in your roster.
How about in the style of, what was that? Oh, a Kami, like a drawn,
maybe
artistic. Who would be? Well, Ken, Deirdre, Ina, Elsie.
See, we're drawing from the classics too much, aren't we? I think
I gave you 4.
I'm trying to think of who could have an interesting moveset as well. So
Can I just point something out quickly? One thing we've noticed as we started looking at more ephemera of Coronation Street over the years is that what they always fall into the trap, and this is a very understandable trap, and this is what you'd have to do. It's always classic characters from like the previous however many decades they've gotten up to, plus a bunch of people that nobody cares about anymore, because they're the current cast. So in 5 years' time, is anyone going to be going, "Oh yeah, God, I'm really happy I can play Kelly"? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, although putting Kelly in a beat 'em up, she wouldn't do anything, would she? She'd just stand back and say, "No, what are you doing? No. Don't do it, Corrie."
You could get. That's just how you publicise it. You can be like, Corrie fans aghast at sick game that recreates hate crime.
Yeah, maybe releasing our Coronation Street fighting game now wouldn't work so well.
Yeah, we didn't think about that.
Okay, so I'm going to.
And then at the end of every fight, it says, "If you've been affected by any of the outcomes of this fight, please go to iotv.com/advice."
I'm going to have Hilda, and she's going to be my mop wielder.
Oh yeah, she gets a bucket and she can flick water at you.
I think there's a lot of mileage out of Hilda as a fighting character.
She can throw her curlers at you.
Yeah, exactly. Who else? Who else could have a good move set? Obviously, having one of the villains, like, you know, have Richard Hillman with his spade, or Pat Phelan.
He's got like a special move where you mash all the buttons, and then a big red van falls out of the sky and lands on you.
That'd be a special move, wouldn't it? Definitely.
Would it be like Mortal Kombat, where it's like really crispy and graphic?
I don't know.
And then all these, you get like, you're showing like Barbara Knox going, look, watch this. Look, Ken eviscerates Rita. It's great.
I think having a mixture of characters who are actually prone to violence and other ones like your Hildas would be important. So you could have your Peter, who likes a bit of a punch up and feeling, but to have him up against Minnie Caldwell, who just throws cats at you or something.
Yeah. You can have like Steve, and like if you choose any of his ex-wives, so like he automatically starts off with half HP. And they throw babies at him.
I would love that. I don't know what they'd have as the different stage backgrounds, because there's only so much you can have in Coronation Street, isn't there?
The outside of the street, Seb's Memorial Garden,
top of Blackpool Tower, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I that's probably one of my favourite ideas.
I also think that this has appeal beyond just Coronation Street fans, because if you make it a really good one, with a good gimmick, you might get people in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you quite like survival horror games, don't you?
I would love an apocalyptic Coronation Street game where you just kind of like you got to fight your way through, and all the zombies are actually ex Coronation Street. If you had a Resident Evil game or something where all of the zombies were like characters who've died. Well, no, I just think characters who died even. Yeah. The weather. I mean, the story is the Weatherfield cemetery is been cursed or something, and the graveyards outside St Mary's, and they're all bursting out of their graves. Yeah. I think that'd be great. Yeah, and definitely. I would play that game. Definitely. I don't know what the plot would be.
You don't need it.
No, you do need a plot. All these survival horror games, apart from Resident Evil, have pretty good stories. Like Silent Hill is really twisted. You got Last of Us, and you've got Days Gone, and I can't think of any other ones, but they rely on the plot really. So I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Maybe you're just, you're Billy, and you got to go through to your archdeaconry to get your holy water to sprinkle on them and turn it all back.
I don't want to play Billy as the main character. Sure? What about it's like an RPG crossed with a survival horror game, and you have you find like characters that are alive and you recruit them. So like if you find Sam, you can like make gadgets and kill more zombies at once.
Who would you have as your shopkeeper? Because you need a good shopkeeper that
Resident Evil Village, that guy in that. The Count.
Would you just have Dev?
Hey, you want to cut some
zombies? You want an AK-47, man?
You're gonna need some bullets.
Or do we go like proper old school and have Florrie Lindley or something?
No,
trying to sell your firelighters.
It's after 6 on a Sunday. Lock her up. I
would totally buy that.
I would love Dev to be in it, because I think he'd be great, because we like a bit of a colourful shopkeeper, don't we? And he definitely gives it a bit of verve. And then every so often Evelyn would pop out. She's like, Dev's gone. Don't know where he's gone. I hope he's not dead.
I want Brendan Scott.
Welcome to our traditional zombie survival shop.
Crossbow?
Yeah. We carve all the arrows ourselves. We've only got 2 though. Come on, Deirdre, get on with it.
What else? What other genres you got? I think something that could possibly work is like a graphic novel. So I'm playing the latest Ace Attorney game at the moment, and that's very, very, very story heavy. So if they want to make, Coronation Street is a story, having a new Corrie story, but you just proceed through it by pressing your A button.
I honestly think that would be the way to do it, like a point and click adventure. Like graphic novel kind of like mystery.
That would work.
Story, where it would be like it'd be like an anime movie special where there's a bunch of characters introduced just for this that you don't care a bit about, and then all the other main cast are like supporting characters, because nothing that happens in the game can affect the story of the show. But it could be like, Ken's decided to open a private detective agency.
Yeah, it could be proper noir, couldn't it?
And then in comes Eva. Oh, I hope you can help me, Ken.
Something else that's kind of been quite popular over the recent years, like weird simulation games, like, you know, farming simulator and goat simulator and all that. So maybe you could have like Rover's Barmaid Simulator.
Yes, you could have one of those games where it's like 3 people come in and one of them wants a hot pot and one of them wants a pint of Newton and Ridley's, and one of them wants a pork scratch, and you have to quickly put them all together.
Yeah, like an Overcooked sort of thing.
Yeah, and then quickly run around like, oh no, the toilets are flooding. You've got to quickly clean it up in the middle of the service.
That could work.
That would actually be a really easy mobile game to do.
I think
that would just be like, and it would also get all the like the British Brit fans or whatever they call themselves, who are fascinated with. Believe it or not, there are still some people that just hate everybody from Britain, and then you could be like, oh, you just unlocked fish and chips. Whoa, I've heard of this.
I was doing a bit of research for this before the episode, and I found what the best-selling games of all time were, because we obviously want Coronation Street,
it to
the
make
game,
cash.
so
we can get rid of Costa.
Would you believe that the best-selling game of all time is Minecraft, which I've never played.
Still don't understand it. I still don't get what you do.
You build things out of blocks.
Things out of blocks, but
and you kill the zombies sometimes.
And you dig a hole and you can fall in.
It's about being creative and building things and expressing yourself creatively.
I'm sure it's great
I don't think that really works for Coronation Street, unfortunately.
No.
But GTA 5 is the second best game of all time.
Love that game.
This, and could we make a GTA Weatherfield? Would that work? Watch out, Craig's chasing me. That would be a way to get the wider Weatherfield in, having characters.
Bunch of cheeky scamps. Like, you'd have Graham Proctor, David Platt, make a gang, and you have to go and like steal out of the corner shop,
infiltrate Harvey's drug den.
Yeah,
maybe.
There's lots of gritty drama. Find the gun that Callum had.
Yeah. What else we got on this list? Mario Brothers, the original Pokemons. Could you make a Pokemon version where instead of catching monsters, you catch Coronation Street
old
characters?
Ladies.
I don't know. Mario Kart 8 is on the top 10 list of best-selling games ever.
No, the thing is, Coronation Street has shot themselves in the foot here because they don't have any signature vehicles apart from
the Woody
and the Rover.
What Rover?
Rover.
Oh, Annie's Rover.
Yeah. And maybe, but I don't think this is very iconic, George's fancy steampunk hearse.
Yeah.
Archie, sorry.
What about,
what's his face's horse and cart?
I was going to say that. What's his name?
I don't know.
Charlie Moffat, was it? I can't remember. Yeah, no, I don't think that would work.
Knowing anti-PC old Corrie is probably called Gypsy Steve.
Yeah. But if we, I was also looking at top selling games in the UK. I couldn't find a top selling games in the UK so far this year, but last year number one selling game was FIFA 21, and also FIFA 20 was in there as well. So could we have Weatherfield County football game? I'd be gutted if they spent all this money on a proper Coronation Street game and it's like a bloody football game. It's like, oh, I really want to play this, but I'm not interested.
Let's not forget that it has an in-universe precedent because they have that football game in the show.
Oh yeah, they did,
didn't they?
Yeah, that betting game, whatever it was. Animal Crossing did well last year. Could that work? Because that's about community and stuff. You make a load of Coronation Street characters on a deserted island, and you have to build a little community together.
Yeah, but think about the basic dynamics of that game. Is you turn up on an empty island, and you have to build certain things, and you have to collect stuff. So you could do that. Like if you collect enough drunks, you get a Rovers unlocked, and then Peter Barlow washes up on the shore and he tells you he's lost his phone in the sea. You've got to go and get it.
Peter would definitely be the colourable character. Well, the thing about Animal Crossing is
Crazy Red would be Dev. Like, one of these is fake. I don't want to tell you which one.
The thing with Animal Crossing is there's like hundreds of animal characters that you can have, but in your town on your island you only have like 10, don't you? Until they swap out. So that'd be different players around the world would have different.
I've
got an Enya in my
I really
town.
want a mini Coldwell. And then if you had a mini Coldwell, her house would have like cats just circling.
Yeah, it's like, I've got a Steve Fisher as one of mine.
Oh God, send him back. I hate that one.
So maybe something like that could work. I don't know.
I'd love that. That would be fun.
I still think my favourite idea would be the Coronation Street fighter, because it just writes itself, doesn't it? I think we've come up with a few other decent ideas. None of it's going to happen, unfortunately. They missed their chance last year, and although I do have a little bit of love for words and design, now I'm coming to it's been going 8-9 months. It feels like it's not really fulfilled its potential, and players must be dropping like flies. It's not making money. It can't be making any money now. So it wouldn't surprise me if it just stopped, which is really, really sad, because when you go onto words and design, you can scroll around the outside map, can't you? And there's the whole of the street and Rosamond Street and everything. You can scroll around, and like if this game really took off, then you'd have access to all of these different places. But as it is at the moment, it's just Rovers number 1 and number 9, and I don't think we're going to get any further.
Don't forget
than
that they get money for you watching adverts, and you do that quite a lot.
I suppose so. But
I would imagine. Don't you think that there's some kind of length of contract that they have with this game's?
Oh, yeah, imagine. I bet it's a year. I bet it's a year. I bet December it gets dropped. Yeah, you're right. You do watch the adverts, and they get money from that. But as the player base drops off, which it is, that's not going to be enough to keep it going. Very sadly. I was so happy when I heard they were making a game.
What about a game like Cyberpunk? That was really popular. And we could have Keanu
Pre-launch.
Reeves in it.
Keanu Reeves visits Weatherfield.
I'd love Keanu Reeves to come to Weatherfield.
The other way that you get money in mobile games, or even things like Fortnite now, is by doing crossovers with other franchises, isn't it? Like have the Marvel characters visit Coronation Street, or
can you just imagine
Batman swoops in
Marvel crossover, and everyone's excited to meet Chris Evans because they love his DJ work, and it turns out to be
Chris Evans.
I don't think that would ever happen.
I think we're done. I hope that answers Mel's question.
What about something to do with we could get some celebrities in from other, like you say, crossovers? And what's the biggest British franchise that that has also stolen a name from us?
What? Top Gear?
Yes.
Oh yeah, funny conversation.
Top Gear crossover with Coronation Street.
Jeremy Clarkson in my Coronation Street game. Thank you very much.
I don't know how that would happen, but if you, like you say, you make money out of it and just have Jeremy Clarkson pop up every now and then talk about farms.
Okay.
No? Okay. Right, we're all done.
We are done. Hope you enjoyed that discussion. It wasn't too nerdy for you. I think there's going to be a small number of our listeners that really love that and got everything that we were talking about, and the vast majority of the listenership is like, I think I'll just skip this one and wait until the Street Talk episode. But anyway, if you ask the question, then maybe we'll answer it. If you don't answer the question, then don't. If you've got a question that you want us to ask and you haven't asked it yet,
you want to ask us,
send it to us, email it to us, or tweet it to us, or Facebook it to us. There's so many ways you can get these questions, just like Clarissa and Mel did. So thank you everybody for listening. We're done. We're going to be back at the weekend with our thoughts on this quite epic week of Coronation Street that we're experiencing this week. And I don't know, maybe there'll be some news, maybe there'll be some feedback, probably a quiz or something. But that's it, isn't it? Final words, Gemma?
That's definitely it.
That's definitely it, everybody. Goodbye.